This is Mike Kavanaugh with HIVHero.org and GayLifeNYC.org, and I'm here with Ross from Glaad. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
So tell me about what you do for this organization.
I'm the Director of Religion, Faith, and Values at Glaad. So my work is primarily trying to amplify the voice of pro-LGBT people of faith and get them a bigger voice out in the media who are affirming, are faithful, and sharing their story, and sharing their beliefs with the rest of the world out in the media.
Could you tell us what the campaign is all about and how it came about?
Sure. The Unitarian Universalists had a campaign in the United States called Standing on the Side of Love, and that has been about several different progressive issues that will help LGBT equality, about immigration, about progressive values that a lot of people care about. And the Unitarian Universalist United Nations office has recognized that there's a lot of work globally for LGBT justice, and that in 70 countries you can be jailed for being gay, or in 7 countries being executed for being gay. And so recognizing that we want the love and the protections for LGBT people globally to spread not just within the United States, but also that it's happening in countries all over the world, and it's happening in Uganda and in China and in South America, and making sure that the love that we have for our fellow humanity is doesn't just stay within our country borders, but it's spread out globally.
Yes, and it's not just about LGBT, it's also about what's affecting the HIV and AIDS world. I'm sure that you have a lot of issues related to that. How has this affected the world?
Today there was conversation of just that same thing, is that if there's stigma about who you are, about being a gay man or a transgender person, you're often not going to get medical resources. You won't seek them out. You may not have access to some of those resources that other folks will as well. And so these two, especially globally, get tied in so much. And there's a lot of churches and denominations and governmental groups that are all working on trying to eliminate HIV and eradicate AIDS. And we've got to recognize that work can't happen without recognizing what are some of the barriers that exist for people who are lesbian or gay or bisexual or transgender.
And how did you get involved with the UN?
Mostly with the Unitarian Universalist United Nations office. They've got the relationship with the UN, they've got standing, and they're the only denomination that has a really pro-LGBT mandate that has standing with the UN. It's done a lot of work with them. They asked Glaad for some assistance because Glaad's known for doing its media work and helping to promote LGBT equality through the media, and making sure that their campaign is not just directed at the UN, but also that kind of mainstream America gets to see and understand what's happening globally.
What are your plans for the future to expand this campaign?
And the campaign's going to continue. That's going to help to bring the stories of individuals around the world and what their lives are like, and the people that want to go to school, the people that want to be doctors, the people that want to be cared for, and making sure that people in the United States understand those, and also hopefully that can affect our governments, those of us here in the United States, and the governments that are represented here at the UN too. And so this campaign's going to keep carrying it out more and more with denominations and individual churches, but also is going to come over some of the major media outlets as well.
That's great. And how can we get involved in this campaign? How can we help you?
To get involved with the campaign, really work with the Unitarian Universalist United Nations office. They are steering this, and they are experts with that. And I would encourage people to look up the UNO, there's the acronym for it, and to look at Love Beyond Borders to figure out how it is that they can sign up, how they can know who's representing our country, who's representing all the other countries, to be in contact with leaders.
Is there a website?
There is. Bruce knows that. I don't know that information.
Okay, we'll find out the website. We'll put it right here like magic.
Perfect.
But also, I want you to know that this is an amazing cause, amazing thing to get involved with. But you can always donate money to Glaad. We love Glaad, GLAAD.org. Please send them lots of money. This is an amazing campaign. Congratulations on its launch.
Thank you so much.
And remember, always play safe out there. Our slogan is condoms are hot. Aren't condoms hot?
They are excellent.
All right, you heard it from him. Here we are at the UN. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm here with Bruce Knox. How are you today?
Very good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Congratulations on this amazing event. Tell us about this amazing launch for this amazing organization.
Well, this is a launch of Love Beyond Borders for Acceptance for All. And what we're trying to do is get people to lift their eyes and look beyond our borders. We've fought some great fights here in the United States. We're getting marriage equality in more and more states. That's absolutely fabulous. But there are people around the world who can't get an education, can't get housing, can't get jobs, can't even get medical care because of their sexual orientation and gender identity. And we want people to spend some of their time and some of their efforts thinking about LGBT rights globally.
What do you think is the biggest problem facing LGBT community around the world?
Well, it's those things. It's education, health care, housing, and employment. And when I talk at the UN across the street here, I don't even talk about marriage or the ordination of clergy because they're not ready for those things yet. You know, I'm looking for basic human rights. In 7 countries in the world, you can be executed. The state can put you to death because of your sexual orientation or gender identity. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're working with the UN. The UN has been absolutely fabulous. The Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the UN, has said over and over again, we need to get rid of these laws which criminalize sexual orientation and gender identity. He just said this to the African Union, which is kind of a hot spot for this kind of thing. So they're being very courageous, and we have been the organization that's been pushing them in this direction. And in 4 years' time, we've made amazing progress.
Yes, I know. We can get married now in New York. All I need is a husband, so I'm single and I'm out there. Shame on you, California, but I know we're going to get that soon. So how can we get involved? What's the call to action here?
Well, we need volunteers, we need funds, we need support, we need engagement. And our website is www.uu-uno.org. We are trying to get people to look at the world and the need out there for engagement on LGBT rights.
Okay, we're going to put that website right down here like magic. It's going to be like magic.
Okay.
Please visit the website. Please go. Please donate. Please donate to Glaad. Amazing organizations. Thank you so much, and congratulations on this amazing effort that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. This is a great event, and we really appreciate your support. What are we trying to do here? I'm trying to get you to lift your eyes kind of over there at the United Nations. Think about the world. We've had some wonderful success here in the United States, New Jersey and Washington State, just passed same-sex marriage. But around the world, people who, because of their sexual orientation or gender identity, are killed by the state legally. They have laws which put people to death because of sexual orientation or gender identity. 7 countries have that. In about 70 other countries, you can be denied health care, housing, employment, and education. When we went to Uganda and we asked the LGBT people in Uganda, they said, what is your first most important need? They said literacy. Why literacy? Because they were kicked out of their homes by their parents, and they were kicked out of their schools, and they weren't allowed to finish their education. So we are working with the UN. We've made tremendous progress in 4 years. The UN is now fully engaged. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, just spoke to the African Union and told them to abolish laws which criminalize and oppress people because of their sexual orientation and gender identity. So we're on the road, but we need your support. We need you to be engaged, to volunteer, to be aware, to read up, to demand more information about LGBT rights around the world, not just in the United States. So thank you very much for coming out. This is our purpose. We want you to stay engaged, be involved, and support the work that we're doing. So thank you very much.
There's 2 petitions that we have. One is for Ban Ki-moon and the other one is for our president. If everyone can please sign that, it's right by the door. And thank you everyone for coming.
And now we would like Ross to come over. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ross Murray, and I'm the Director of Religion, Faith, and Values at Glaad, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. Glaad's tagline is "Words and Images Matter," and our work is on the public representation of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people in the media. And as my work with Director of Religion, Faith, and Values, I try to elevate and amplify the voice of pro-LGBT people of faith. And the Unitarian Universalist Church has been one of those leaders in terms of faith voices that's been very strongly supportive and advocating for the LGBT community. here in the United States and also abroad. And so it's been really great to partner with the UNO in order to talk about what's happening with LGBT globally and how do we talk about social justice for people that live overseas. It's really easy for us here in the United States to focus on the great wins that we've had of marriage equality, to work on bullying, to try to make sure that our young people feel safe at schools. But also, like Bruce said, to cast our eyes further beyond our own borders and to recognize that the plight of LGBT people globally is in a very different place than what it was like for you and for me growing up. And so knowing that the images matter, what comes out of the United States is really important. The words of preachers here in the United States, as that gets exported overseas and shared with different audiences, makes a huge difference. The images that show up on our television, in our newspapers, in our magazines, those also go all over the world. And I can be incredibly happy that Kurt on Glee is having a great life. However, I want to make sure that people that don't have that life that Kurt does also get to have the safety and protections and are able to be educated and to have access to health care, that people can make sure that they're not stigmatized, that they're not pushed into risky situations. And so that's why Glaad is really, really happy to be a partner in this campaign with the UNO, and we're really glad to support the work that they are doing here. So thank you very much for letting us be here. I also was asked if I can allow Councilperson Mendez to come up and say a word of welcome, who's here as well. So could I turn the podium over to him? Thank you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I represent the district just south of here, South 35th Street. So it's wonderful to see so many people out here. And as this year we've made so many strides here in New York with marriage equality, we must remember that many couples here in New York, one may be a citizen and one may not, and we need to work to allow the federal government to sponsor same-sex couples so that they can become citizens in this country. And last week we kicked off Respect for All in New York City in our public schools. I've been going in there talking about many anti-bullying tactics that are going on. And we have issues here, but we also have issues beyond our borders, and we need to work on that. So it's a pleasure to be here. Plus, I want to introduce my good friend who is here with me tonight, the LGBT liaison for Governor Andrew Cuomo, Eric Botcher. Come over. So he worked with me in the city council, and now he's working at the state, and he was a big important part of getting marriage equality here in New York State. Thank you all for being here tonight. Want to say hello?
I'd like to say thank you for having us tonight. It's very important work that you're all doing, so thank you again.
Thank you.
Let me make just a couple of announcements. We do have these letters that Anone mentioned. One is to President Obama and the other is to Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General. We usually love to criticize our leaders. This is actually a chance to praise our leaders. I think our president has done an absolutely outstanding job internationally on LGBT rights. I also want to give a shout out to our governor who's done a great job, the city of New York, and also Ban Ki-moon at the United Nations has gone around the world advocating for LGBT rights, which is amazing. These people who do this kind of work, they're used to hearing criticism all the time. They don't ever get a pat on the back for what they do well. So we want you to sign a letter and say, yes, you're doing a good job, keep up the good work, and do some more. So please sign these letters. We also have a raffle going on around here, so please make sure you buy a raffle ticket. We've got some over there, and please have a great time.
Thank you.